All right, good day, everybody. This is Ron Deering coming to you from my home office in just washed my lips. Can't do a thing with them. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, in North Idaho. I wanted to have a chat this morning. Sorry, I'm a little dry, and it is. If you could see outside here, it is crystal blue out. It's about 40 degrees out, or getting closing in on 40 degrees. It's a little chilly still, but it's beautiful blue skies here in February. It is amazing, amazing. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about: are you mastering your life, or are you dabbling at it? You know, this is a subject. Hey, Crystal, this is a subject that so many top successful people in the world have talked about, right? I think Jim Rohn was the person that said, you know, you either craft your life or someone else will craft it for you. You either design your life or someone else will design it for you. Tony Robbins talks about this all the time, right? And I've been listening to I listen to the news development stuff every single day. But I was listening to something this morning. They were talking about: are you mastering your life, or are you just dabbling at it, right? And now, what does that break down to? Well, it breaks down to: are you mastering your business? Are you mastering your relationships? Are you mastering your finances? Are you mastering your health? Are you mastering, every portion of your life? Or are you just kind of dabbling at it? The reason that people don't succeed in business is because they dabble at it, right? I can tell you that there are so many people that start a home-based business and dabble at it. I'm gonna try this. Wrong answer already off the bat, right? I'm going to try this for the next 6 months to a year. If it works, that's great. If it doesn't work, that's okay. Good morning, Joanne, Phyllis, Sherry, Deborah, right? Because they're dabbling at it. It's like people nowadays, I'm going to get married. If it doesn't work, I'll try it for a couple of years, see how things work. If it doesn't work, then, they're dabbling at it. I'm gonna get a gym membership, and I'll try this for a couple of weeks and see how I feel. You're going to feel like crap, and you're going to quit because you're dabbling at it. You're not mastering anything, right? There are no healthy people in the graveyard, right? In the cemetery. So no matter how rich you are, no matter how, well off you are and everything else, if you have no health, it's not going to matter a whole lot. So it's got to be a whole thing. You've got to master your life. You've got to take the time to sit down, put a plan together that allows you to master every area of your life. But here's what people do. Even if they sit down and do that, they don't take that next step, which is take action. One of the things I heard today that really impressed me and really hit home with me was from a gentleman that spoke, was one of the lead speakers at our convention last October. And he was talking about Mr. Les Brown. He was talking about: are you living a heart-centered life? Have you decided to live a life that will outlive you? Decided to live a life that counts. Decided to live a life that will build a legacy and change the planet. Mastering your life. Well, I love that, because so many people out there are all about themselves, all about what they can have, what they can get, how many cars, and all of these things. And I'm not saying all that stuff isn't important. Good morning, Aaron. Good morning, Laura. Good morning, servant leader, my brother from another mother, Mr. Carlos Martinez. But are you really mastering your life? Are you dabbling at it? And are you creating a heart-centered life? Are you really working on creating a life that will outlive you? What does that mean? Creating a life that will outlive you. After you're gone, long and gone, long passed away and gone, right? People will say, "Oh, Ron Deering, man, he impacted my life." Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar have been gone for quite a few years now, right? But still, people are quoting them. People are telling the stories of how they impacted their life. Their training, their videos, their books are still impacting lives now, long after they're gone. Long after they've passed and gone, they are still impacting people's lives. Is that the kind of life that you want? Are you living a life that you've mastered, that you're working on mastering so that it will long outlive you? Or are you just going along day by day and letting someone else craft your life, letting somebody else decide what your life is going to be? And at the end of that life, you sit back with a ton of regrets. My wife and I were talking about this the other day. The regrets that people have, that we may have in raising our kids and doing things and so forth. And you sit back and there are, hey Stephanie, there are things that you can either sit back and regret, or they're the past that you can use as that learning education stepping stone into the present and through the present into the future, right? Chase, Kendra, good to see you all this morning. So you need to decide whether or not you are going to master your life. And how do I master my life? I live my life with intentions. I live my life with intention, right? One of the things I love that Mel Robbins says is, in fact, I think she's got a book about it, but 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. You get up in the morning, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm out of the bed. I know that I want to do something, and you've got about 3 to 5 seconds, the average person, before, if you don't make a decision, your brain starts to make that decision for you. Ooh, watch it. Wait a minute. That's going to be tough. I know I should go out and sit down and start connecting. But by mastering your life and living your life with intention, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. Right? Good morning, Cindy, Larry, and Doris. Jason, Kelly, good to see you this morning. Chad, good to see you. So, are you mastering your life, every part of your life, your business, right? Do you get up every day and say, okay, here's what I've got to do for my business. I've got to do this for my life, my personal development, my personal growth. I've got to get out and I've got to prospect. I've got to get more people. I've got to get in front of more people. I've got to make more connections. I've got to say as little as possible, as many as possible, as quick as possible. I've got to build with intention, and I've got to master this. I've got to master my relationships. I've got to master my finances. I've got to master, my personal growth and who I am. Good morning, Stacy. Or are you letting somebody else craft and build and design your life for you? Are you living your life with intention? Are you living your life with a heart-centered life? Building a life that will long outlive you. Mastering that life, impacting people's lives, changing people's lives, changing your life, changing your family legacy, so that long after you're gone, people are saying, yeah, that Ron Deering, that Kay Sams, that Stacy George, that Larry and Doris, that Chad, that Deborah, that Jason, and Kendra, Chase, Carlos, Aaron, Lily, Laura. Man, they impacted my life. They changed things. They changed things for me forever. But if you're sitting back in your little hole, your little isolated cubicle, your little isolated house, and you are not reaching out to anybody, anywhere, impacting anybody, and you're letting your life just go along, whatever, come what may, at the end of your life, you're going to have to decide how you feel. Because what's going to happen is you're going to find out that, wow, I didn't master squat. I didn't master my life. I didn't master my business. I'm leaving my family nothing. And I'm not talking about just money, right? My dad, when he passed away, I think it was 2012, around that time frame, didn't leave us a lot of money or anything. There was, 8 of us kids alive, and my dad wasn't a millionaire or anything like that, right? But what he did leave is a lot of things that he taught me in my life that I still remember, I still use, I still are learning from. You can become brain dead, but you can't become heart dead. I love that. Robert Hollis, our mentor. Laura, you are impacting all of our lives too, and we all love you, Ron. Thank you so much, so much. I'm so proud of you, your husband, Bill. Everything that we do here should be centered on the fact that we are trying to impact people's lives. We're trying to learn to better master our lives. We're trying to learn to reach out and change people's lives and leave a legacy, right? But if we are just sitting back and letting life just go, then we're not going to be able to do that. Awesome, awesome. I love it when people's names are Larry and Doris, right? I hope I'm talking to Larry and Doris, but uh, one of you. So this is going to be a long one today. It is Hump Day. It's Wednesday. We've got a lot of things to do, a lot of things to get done today. But I wanted to reach out to you and make sure and see. You need to answer this question, right? Are you mastering your life, or are you just dabbling? Are you mastering your business, or are you just dabbling? And here's what I want you to do today. I want you, because I'm going to do this. I did this when I was listening to this. Um, I started to think about the one or two things in my life that I was just so passionate and excited about that it just couldn't stop. I just couldn't stop learning about it and getting gooder and gooder and gooder at it, right? For a period of time. First thing, and I'll tell you what those two things were, right? First thing is that when I was a young child, we grew up, I was born in Detroit, Michigan. Yay, Detroit, everybody loves, you know. I was born in a hospital, the Grace Hospital in Detroit, Michigan, but we actually lived in Dearborn, Michigan. I can still remember, 2461 Boston Street in Dearborn, Michigan, right? It was this was back in the 50s. It was a nice community. Uh, all the streets, were lined up like this. It was a grid thing, and we walked to the end of our street in Boston, and it was our elementary school. And then when I got out of elementary school and went to junior high, we walked down to the other end of Boston until we got to the main drag Telegraph. And those of you who are living in the Michigan area, as soon as I say Telegraph Road, you know what that is. And across Telegraph to our junior high, Orwell Smith Junior High, right? And when I was about 12 years old, my parents decided, my mom specifically, she wanted to live on a farm. So they went and they looked, and we bought a farm out in a little town called Wixom, Michigan. It was just all farm town, all farms. That's all it was. 900 people, 9 square miles. That's what it was. It was our farm. But what came with this farm was a horse. Now, up until that point, us city boys and city girls, we saw horses, and if we went out, took an hour drive. Dearborn used to have a place out almost in the same area for where we bought our farm, called Camp Dearborn, and we could go out there, and they had horseback riding and everything, and there's a bunch of lakes in this area called Camp Dearborn that the city of Dearborn bought. So we had boating and all this stuff. And my dad bought a huge trailer that we parked up there, and in the summers we would go there and stay there most of the summer. But I loved horses, and so I started going out to the library and the bookstores and buying anything and everything. As soon as I found out that the farm came with a horse, an old Appaloosa, and I started learning everything, all about, the Western saddles and all the terminology and the bridles and how to hold my hands. And I started, trying to watch as much as I could where I could find it on TV or in the libraries and everything, to learn everything I could about horses. And so when we moved out to the farm, boy, I just became this little expert. 12 years old, became this little expert on horses. I learned how to saddle them up. And then I got with, once we got the horse, I got with the neighbors and said, okay, what do I do here? And you've got to do this to make sure the air is out of their stomach, because they'll hold their breath, so that when you tighten up the cinch underneath the saddle, then they let their breath out, and now it's all loose and you fall off. And, what to do here, and how to post when you're trotting, and all of these things. And I just learned and learned and learned, and saved up my money, got a job, eventually saved up my money, got my own saddle, had my own riding clothes and everything that I could. And I fell in love with it. And I just became this expert. And it was just something that I fell in love with. And I won't say that I mastered it, but I was on my way to mastering it. And I knew a lot about horses, and I knew a lot about our farm and all of that stuff, because it just became a passion for me. It was something that I just really, really loved. And in the summer times, we would ride our horses all over the town, and there was always hitching posts there that we could ride up and tie the horse up and go in and do whatever we were doing and come back out. And it was just that kind of lifestyle back then in the 50s and 60s for us. But then I went to our church. I got saved, became a Christian, and at the Baptist church there was an individual by the name of Larry Smith, that had his own plane. And I remember one year they did a big contest for the youth, and anybody who could memorize the most verses and learn the most scriptures and so forth would win a ride up in Larry's small plane. And we had all kinds of little grass runways. People had taken their farms and made runways out of them, because a lot of people were flying small planes back then. And just down the street from us, there was a grass runway. And it just, I would go down there and sit for hours and watch the planes land and take off and stuff. And so when this came up, I became a master. I learned everything I could, and I won. And I got my first flight in a small plane. From that point on, and I think I was maybe 14 or 15 years old, all I could think about was flying. I want to be a pilot. I bought every private pilot course, went through it. Even though I wasn't old enough to have a license or anything, I went through it. I studied. LW's father, exactly. You're right, Jason. It was LW's father. LW and I have been friends since I was a kid, right? And now we're in business together. It was absolutely LW's father, and we anything and everything. And it wasn't until I was in the Navy, even when I was in the Army, I got qualified, or I got picked up and selected to fly helicopters, and then I just couldn't handle the military anymore, and got out. Well, then I went back into the Navy. I was in Navy intelligence, and while I was at my school down in Key West, Florida, I finally said, I'm doing this. I had read every book on flying. I knew everything. I went through, and I got 100% on my ground school test. I went through the ground school, and this was while I'm going through my Navy school. At nights and on the weekends, I was getting my pilot's license, and I finally, got my pilot's license. It was a minimum of 40 hours, and I got it in 40 hours. The national average is 60 hours. But because this was something that I was passionate at, I mastered it. And then I finally I went through all my schools and everything. I got my private pilot's license. My first duty station in the Navy was over in Europe. So I got qualified so I could fly in Europe, and I flew all over Europe and in small planes. I would rent them and everything. And then my next duty station was Hawaii. And when I got to Hawaii, I went down to the local VA office and said, hey, can I use my private pilot's license or my GI Bill to get my instrument rating and my commercial rating, my multi-engine rating and all that? And they said, oh, absolutely. They just won't pay for your privates. Well, I've already got my privates. So I spent all of my off time going down to the local flight club and getting my instrument and my commercial and my multi-engine and getting all these ratings and everything and flying every chance I got. But I mastered it. I didn't sit back and let someone else tell me what I was going to do. Was something that I was so passionate about. I sat down and I said, I am going to be a pilot. And for years, every book I could read, everything I could learn about meteorology and weather, everything I could learn about navigation and reading maps, and everything I could learn about aerodynamics and how planes worked and engines, and I became an expert, and I mastered that, and I loved flying. And in the Army, I jumped out of planes. Eventually, I got to the point where I could fly them. So you need to go back. Now I remember that. I remember those feelings. I remember what it took and what I did and everything that I went through. Good morning, Christopher. Good morning, Beth. And now I look at my business and say, you know what? I want this as much as bad. I want to be that expert. I want to master this just as much as I did when I wanted to fly, when I wanted to learn about horses. So every day I get up and I listen to something. I'm watching something. Even if I'm working, I've got something on the other screen. I've got something playing, an audiobook. I'm doing anything and everything I can to become a master. And here I am, 67, going to be 68 years old this year. But at the end of the day, when the Lord sees fit to take me home, I want to live a life that lives beyond me. I want to leave a legacy for my family and for others. What do you want to do? I want you to take today and think about that time in your life when you were just so passionate and so committed to doing something, to learning something, to getting better at something, that it was everything that drove you from the time you woke up to the time you went to bed. That's all you could think about. Christopher, I love you dearly, boy. I just this whole business, it's all about leaving a legacy, mastering your life. Not stop the dabbling. Stop dabbling. If you got in your business and you said, I'm going to try this for 6 months to a year, you're dabbling. Stop it. As Bob Newhart says, stop it. Make a better world. I love that, Beth. Make a better world for my grandchildren. We have 6 children and 13 grandchildren right now. I hope that we end up leaving them something. I don't hope. I know I will build a legacy. I will build something that I can leave to my grandchildren so that they will have a better life, so that they will have a better chance. Part of that is going to be the legacy of who I am, what I can teach them. Money it's just money. How many people do you know in life, or you've heard the stories in life, that have won the lotteries, or their trust fund babies and everything else, and have nothing to offer in the world? So money is just money. But what you can pass on to them, the wisdom, the guidance, the understanding, the learning, the legacy that you can pass on for everything that you've done and everything that you can give to them. Awesome, Beth. I didn't know that. You've got 6 children, 5 grandchildren. I know one of your children, Justin. So, well, God bless you all today. Master your life. Stop dabbling with it. Create a heart-centered, filled life that lives on long after you do. Decide to live a life that counts, a life that will build a legacy and change the planet. Master your life. Stop dabbling. If you got in your business and you said, I'm going to try this, I'm going to do this for the next 6 months to a year, I'm going to do the best I can. If it doesn't work, at least I know I've done the best I can. It's not going to work. Stop now. Quit now. Go do something else. I'm telling you right now. But if you got in this business and you said, and I'm going to say it, right, come hell or high water, I am going to create a legacy. I am going to be the best of the best. I'm going to be the best person, the best version of Deborah that I can be, the best version of Beth, the best version of Cynthia, Cindy, the best version of Larry, Doris, the best version of Lily, the best version of Carlos, of Christopher, of Jana, of Dawn, of Troy, of Tony, the list goes on and on, Sabrina, right? Then I'm here with you, and I want to go on this journey with you, and I want to help you master your life instead of dabbling at it. Let's make 2020 the vision that you will never forget. The start of something amazing in your life and in so many others that you are going to, that you don't even know yet, that you are going to impact. God bless you all. Thank you for being on this journey with me.